Whether it's floods, fires, or even an earthquake, when disaster strikes, most people have a plan in place for what to do and where to go, but very few have an evacuation plan for animals.
Well, as we all know, Mother Nature never sleeps. Our animal populations have grown significantly. It's not just about dogs and cats anymore. Now we're talking about an all hazards, all species approach. Our classes encompass not only companion animals, but to take into consideration all the other animal species. Our ag industry being so powerful and robust here in the United States, we also want to prepare our first responders in the event that they have to handle any type of animal-related incident.
First responders, veterinarians, livestock owners, and emergency managers attended a training hosted by the Washington County Emergency Services on how to prepare a plan to evacuate, transport, or shelter animals during a disaster.
So we're here today on behalf of the Rural Domestic Preparedness Consortium. We go out to communities to provide a network, really to be a liaison to bring our community members with our emergency managers to build our community preparedness.
Hurricane Katrina is what set this action into motion years ago.
Nobody thought about it up to that point. They just, during Katrina, people would show up at a shelter and the shelter would turn them away, or at least their pets away. And there was a lot of animal casualties from that event. And now there's a lot more focus on, okay, how are we going to deal with that? And we're trying to make sure that our plans for animals in a disaster are adequate and that we have the right kind of training, the right kind of expertise and knowledge to even plan for that kind of thing. And we have a person in our class today that is a beekeeper and has 80,000 bees. Frankly, I'd never thought of that as being a potential that we might have to figure out how we could support that in a disaster.
Disaster responders understand that having a plan in place is essential, especially when it comes to dealing with animals that are scared.
Yes, so scared animals can be very dangerous because they're scared. They can bite, scratch, try to get away. And if you're not trained in how to handle those animals when they're scared and how they're behaving, you put yourself at risk and the animal at risk too.
While the responsibility is ultimately up to owners to make these preparations, the public is also very responsive in helping out.
When we have a fire or a flood, people show up with their horse trailers or whatever and they lend a hand. We're lucky in Utah that way and in Washington County that way.
Funded through the Department of Homeland Security, the training is provided to all 50 states and provides education mostly for rural areas.
My ultimate goal is to create the network of, I always say, who's who in the zoo. So to create a relationship between our community partners, to understand any potential gaps between our local government, our state government, and federal government. The main focus for today, though, our group was really interested in how do they better prepare for evacuation and transportation, especially with the weather that's here in Utah, in addition to wildfire season. So our goal is to get humans and their animals out safely and to make sure that they can return to their homes with their animals.
And the plan also addresses animal hazards to health.
We certainly have problems with bird flu and with the chickens right now that's caused egg prices to go up, and people try to start doing their own thing with that. Well, if they're not cautious, they can create their own types of disease problems if they're not handling those animals correctly or not raising them correctly.
But most importantly, Bradley says, is to make sure you're ready when the time of disaster strikes.
Have an evacuation plan, have a go kit. In the case of what we're talking about today, have that kind of stuff prepared ahead for your animals too. Be ready to bring their food, their medicine. Be ready to find a place to house them with neighbors or friends if it's necessary.
We do tabletop exercises, talk about potential situations, but most importantly, lessons learned and their experiences of what didn't go so well and what we could do better.
From Washington County, Melissa Anderson, Community Education News.